Architectural development signifies a country's economical growth. If you see what Dubai was a few decades ago, you will be amazed by what they are today. They converted a desert into a tourist destination and business hub where people from around the world come to either visit or to do business. However, the craze of architectural development has led to some unavailing events as well. Here's a list of the most useless megaprojects in the world that will amaze you. Number 1. Interstate H3 Hawaii. Let's start with a breathtakingly scenic highway in the Aloha State, Hawaii. The 26-kilometer-long Interstate H3 passes through one of the most stunning landscapes in the world. It is so stunning that there are genuine concerns of motorists stopping and creating traffic hazards. However, the highway is as controversial as it is beautiful. It was first proposed in 1960, with defense considerations in mind, as the highway would connect the Pearl Harbor Naval Base on the south side to the Marine Corps Air Station on the east coast. The announcement of its construction was immediately met with resistance from environmental groups, as well as native Hawaiians, who are worried about the massive urbanization the project would bring. Environmental laws of the time, and a change of route to protect the surrounding valleys, delayed the plans indefinitely. 26 years later, the environmental hurdles were removed when the Congress exempted the project from the environmental laws and cleared the way for construction to finally begin in 1989. The highway was finally opened in 1997, almost 39 years after it was originally proposed. Interstate H3 is often considered an engineering marvel because of the difficult terrain it is built on and the advanced technologies used in its construction. In addition to the numerous high-tech tunnels, the highway runs almost exclusively over viaducts to protect the local environment in the valleys below. Decades of decay, route changes, and newer but more expensive technologies meant that it was completed 5 times over the original estimated budget. The total cost of construction was $1.3 billion, which is about $50 million per kilometer, the most expensive cost per kilometer in the world. Despite the enormous budget, this beautiful highway isn't useful for everyone. Critics believe that it's a road to nowhere because the defense considerations of the 60s are no longer relevant, and the highway has no direct route to downtown Honolulu. Then there's the case of native Hawaiians, a majority of whom refuse to use the H3 to this day. They consider it to be cursed, as many religiously significant cultural sites were destroyed during its completion. The Interstate H3 highway is certainly an achievement as far as megaprojects go. However, for certain native groups, it remains useless. Although it is one of the most useless megaprojects in the world, at least it isn't completely abandoned, like the next project on our list. Number 2. Ciudad Real Central Airport, Spain. Spain is one of the prime travel destinations in Europe, and that was a key consideration when the idea for Ciudad Real Central Airport was conceived. It was tipped to be the go-to destination for holiday travelers within Spain, as well as international visitors. The vision for this new airport was to make it an alternative to the already heavily overcrowded main airport in Madrid. The new airport had one of the top longest runways in Europe and can serve 2 million passengers a year. That's a relatively low number compared to Madrid's 70 million passenger capacity. However, expansion plans were already in motion to boost the capacity up to 10 million annually. So when it finally became operational in 2009, the $1.3 billion expense might have seemed justified. However, all these plans came to a grinding halt in 2012, when the company behind the project filed for bankruptcy. The problems began with the location of the project. While it was called the Central Airport, it wasn't central in any way, as it was located 200 kilometers away from Madrid. This compounded problems, as most of the passengers avoided traveling for hours to get to the remote location, and most big airlines preferred to carry out flight operations from the capital. So within the first year of opening, the newly built airport was reduced to a single small-time airline. With no major airlines to attract passengers, the airport had accumulated a $350 million debt by 2012. Unsurprisingly, it went into receivership and was put up for auction in 2013. The airport was even popularized as an abandoned location by the hit British TV show Top Gear in 2014. After multiple auctions fell through, including an outrageous $12,000 offer, the airport was finally sold to new owners in 2019. A Spanish airport that cost 1 billion euros to build sold for 10,000 euros in a bankruptcy auction. As businesses crashed and profits dwindled during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ciudad Real Airport got a lifeline. With little hope of passengers returning, the new owners reinvented the airport as a home for grounded planes, given its dry climate, long runway, and spaciousness. By August 2020, there were 65 airplanes parked at the airport, with expansions underway to provide a storage facility for over 300 aircraft. This new storage approach gave the airport a much-needed business opportunity. This billion-dollar mega-project remains effectively useless for passengers, and that is why we included it on the list of the most useless mega-projects in the world. Number 3. Naypyidaw, Myanmar. Third on the list of the most useless projects in the world isn't just a remote airport. It's the capital of Myanmar, a new capital that was built from scratch. Myanmar's former military leadership started building a new capital in secret in 2002. The shifting of a country's capital isn't unheard of, as many countries including Brazil, Egypt, and Pakistan have done so in the past. Islamabad, being the capital of Pakistan, has the most scenic views. In November 2005, Myanmar's leader announced his decision to the public, but he kept the name of the new capital a secret. It was 4 months later when he finally revealed the name Naypyidaw, which literally means the king's residence. The reason for this sudden shift of the capital wasn't clear. Some speculated that the military leadership was fearful of an attack from the sea, while others thought it was shifted on the advice of astrologers. However, a lot of it had to do with the former capital, Yangon, which is home to 7 million people, and the city is said to have reached its infrastructural limits, and its population is set to double by 2050. Moreover, the coastal city was established as the capital during British rule to benefit the British Navy, so it made sense for Myanmar to shift the capital to a more central location. The new project was built swiftly, and to this date, the successive governments have poured $4 billion into the city. Naypyidaw seemingly has everything to attract visitors: a 20-lane highway, over 100 luxury hotels divided into 3 hotel districts, golf courses, museums, and even a 99-meter-tall replica of a landmark originally situated in Yangon. But there's one essential component that remains missing: the population. The new capital is home to less than 1 million residents, most of which reside in the suburbs that were present even before the city became the capital. But why does no one want to live there? A lingering gap in health facilities, lack of quality educational institutes, and economic opportunities means that most of the population is reluctant to make the city a permanent home. So the city often paints a picture of a deserted place and is often referred to as a ghost town. The incredible 20-lane highway is practically empty, traffic congestion is unheard of, and at times, a single automobile is caught drifting along the tremendous road. It may have a future, but to date, it is one of the most useless mega-projects in the world. The city has an airport that can handle 3.5 million passengers every year, but on a busy day, a dozen people will actually use it. The shopping malls are visited by only the diplomatic staff on weekends, while the hotel lobbies are mostly empty. Despite the apparent barrenness, there's a silver lining for the royal capital. It's built as a city of the future, and with the exploding population in Naypyidaw, it still has time for an inevitable redemption. For now, it's arguably the world's strangest capital, and remains useless for much of the country's population. And with that, we've reached the end of this video, all about the most useless mega-projects in the world. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like, and subscribe for content just like it.